Greetings, friend. How are you doing today? I have few questions for you today. Few questions for you. First question: do you think it is good to be in an industry, to be working in an industry with very high turnover rate? In other words, you can be working and then the next day or the next year you will be out completely. And the second question, do you think it is advantageous, it is good to be super shy? So shy that you feel uncomfortable speaking to people, and even when you want to talk to people, you don't know what to say. Do you think it's a good thing? The last question: have you ever heard the name Kenny Loggins? Kenny Loggins is a musician, singer, songwriter, a musician who has won multiple awards, multiple Emmy and Grammy awards, very well known, and so forth. And I am so happy and I'm so grateful that I had this opportunity this past weekend to have some time with my through my mentor event to enjoy conversations, listening to Kenny Loggin, his music, but also what his wisdom, his thoughts, his way of doing things, and uh, and one thing that struck me that I find very interesting for most of us, you perhaps will include it, would say, well, working in that kind of industry will be kind of unnerving. Will not be necessarily a good thing where you can have a wonderful career and then it just go boom like that, right? And you might also say that it is not a good thing to be so shy, to be extraordinarily shy that you can't talk to people. For Kenny Loggin, those are things that he finds very good. And those are actually the foundations of his success. Actually, that is actually what allow him to be Kenny Loggins now. Kenny Loggins shares that, and I'm going to share this week a few pearls of wisdom that I learned in that just one short hour. It was like almost like a conversation with a sage or something. It was like, wow, you know somebody about what they do when the music and thing, and you like got to talk to the person. You're like, holy moly! And with Kenny Loggins, he shares that he found, even though for you and I might find that being in an industry that has so much turnover rate is unnerving, scary, not a good thing, and so forth. Kenny Loggin, when he started out, like most people, he was not known to anybody. Nobody ever heard or know Kenny Loggin back in the day of the day. And he say, well, I thought about it. Nobody know me, and I tried and I tried and I didn't get anywhere. But the music industry, the entertainment industry has such a high turnover rate that I figure sooner than later I'm going to make my break. How about that? For most people, you perhaps thinks, and before this, I would say industry with high turnover rate. Okay, hello, that sounds a little unnerving there. For him, it is such a high turnover rate that it's an advantage. Yay! So if it's so much turnover rate, sooner than later I'll be known. And he wasn't thinking about apparently that it's gonna be high turnover rate, so I'll be known and then I'm gonna get wiped out. His thought was, and this is what he says, his thought was, hiring. How about that? Move at famous people, how shy he was, and for him, he shared that my mentor asked what got him into music, and he said, well, I was such a shy person. He was so shy that he was uncomfortable connecting with people. He doesn't know what to say to people even when he wants to connect with them. So he figured out early on as a teenager that if he do music, if he know how to play an instrument, something basic like a guitar, then it can be a way for him to connect with people. Because if you look around, he said, well, I just look around and I said, well, if I can't talk to them, so how can I connect with them? And so he noticed that, well, if somebody come in with a guitar or something, people always gather around them and talk to them, and they don't even really need to do much talking. Everybody else doing that. And he said, so I'll just do that, and then from there take the next step and the next step and become who Kenny Loggins is now. And so how about that? He didn't see it. He said, well, you can see it as a disadvantage, but you can also just do what you can, and which is what he did. He just took this thing. It could have been for many of us, we could have, you might have said, I'm really shy, and you might be a very extroverted person, and it could be the same thing. Some extroverted, I have friends who are very extroverted and find it a disadvantage to be very outgoing and extroverted. And so isn't that inspiring? Well, I'm so shy, so instead of many people, I know many people who are very shy. They say, oh, I'm so shy, so I can't do this. I'm so shy, I can't do that. And myself included, back in the day, I used to say, well, but I'm an introvert here. If you do the personality test, I was back in the day, I was labeled as severe introvert. I was 10 out of 10 introvert in the Myers-Briggs personality test. Hello. And so I would be like, well, yeah, but I can't talk to people. I'm an introvert. Yeah, I gotta be hiding. And so how about if you see, okay, well, you might be shy, but what can you do? Do you want to be shy? If that's what you want, that's perfectly fine. But if you find that a disadvantage, well, what can you turn it? What can you do to overcome it, and maybe perhaps turning it into an advantage? And I find those two things just very inspiring. And he said, well, that's where I started. I started looking at the industry with so much turnover and making it an advantage. It is a disadvantage for many people to be in a place with such a high turnover, but he's like, well, that's an advantage. That's a good thing for me. And what about being so shy? That could be something that there is something I can do about it. That's something he could do about it. He did it, and next and took him, and he enjoyed it, and then before he know it, it brings him to where he is, being the amazing Kenny Loggins. So my question for you today, another question for you today, and my invitation for you today is to join me, to just take a look. What disadvantage are you facing now? And perhaps it's a disadvantage that's been following you for many, many years, maybe for some of us decades. Perhaps it's a form of personality and traits and this and that, or something else's. But perhaps it is something new that you just encounter. Maybe you just hear about it today. But many times in our life, being human, life is not perfect. You, most likely than not, being human, you might have something that is a challenge at right now, a disadvantage. So my invitations to you, just like with Kenny Loggins, finding advantage and benefit from disadvantage, what good can possibly come out from whatever the disadvantage that you have? What disadvantage, if you'd like me to join me, just look at whatever come to your mind. You don't have to go digging. Whatever come to your mind, what disadvantage are you facing at this moment? And if you are facing a disadvantage, then let's just ask, what good can possibly come out of it. Because as Napoleon Hill says, every adversity, every heartbreak, every failure has in it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Kenny Loggins surely knows how to grow the seed and make it so much greater benefit, not only for him, but for everybody else who has enjoyed his music, for everybody else who has enjoyed his charitable work and his contribution and so on and so forth. So please share in the comment below if you'd like to what disadvantage might you be facing and what possible good, or perhaps there was a disadvantage that you are facing and you actually turn it around to something that is so much life-giving to you. And if you'd love some support with turning around your disadvantage and gaining a much greater good from that, feel welcome to share it in the comment below or connect with me directly, and feel welcome to share your feedback in the comment below, and feel welcome to share this video. And this is Bridget with From Grieving to Joyful Living. I see that as you are stepping into this, that you take any disadvantage, even if it's seemingly an inherent, like a personality trait or a physical thing, and you find the possible good and gain and grow the possible good and gain it, that you are creating an even more joyful, fulfilling, beautiful, easy, peaceful, thriving life one day at a time, and creating your magnificent, thriving life as a whole in general. And this is Bridget, and I love you very, very much, and I look forward to see you again very, very soon, living your beautiful, magnificent, thriving life.